Hey guys, what's up? My name is Melissa, and you're listening to Wow, where we discuss unconventional norms of lifestyle, career, and world points. On Wow, people discuss their journey to becoming wow. Hosted and curated by me, Melissa Witherspoon. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. We have poet and entrepreneur Matt Capone.
Yo, what's up?
That is so dry. Can I get a little bit like?
Hey,
thank you. That's a little. Put some seasoning on it.
You know, this me. You know what I'm saying? This me.
Oh, this is you?
Yeah,
okay.
This is me. I'm real chill, laid back. You know what I'm saying? I'm goofy, but, you know, time and place for everything. So I'm just trying to feel the vibe out right now.
Okay. All right, cool. So before we get into this interview and everything, we got to read his bio. Born in Washington, D.C., Matt Capone is known for his savvy wordplay, his outgoing personality, and his alluring stage presence. Using poetry as a way to express himself, and using the ink from his pen to define his life and write his future. Matt Capone uses his gift as a tool to enlighten his community on relationships, life, and love. Matt Capone has traveled all over the tri-state area, heading and featuring at numerous events such as Punchlines in Philly, Peer Poetry DC, Every Busboys and Poets, SpeakUpSeries in ATL, the Rose Garden in New York, and many more places around the East Coast and South. Also, Matt Capone is not just a poet, but an artist, holding many titles such as an entrepreneur and host of his own event, Trap Poetry in DC. Trap, public speaker to high school students in Surratsville Senior High, Suitland High School, along with other educational institutions. Matt Capone's mission is to uplift his people through his love for poetry. And now I introduce Matt Capone. Take it away.
What's up, y'all? So I actually wrote that, so I feel honored, you know what I'm saying, that one, you brought that up, but at the same time, I feel good that I even wrote that. That sounds real smart to me. You feel what I'm saying? Sound real smart to me. But yeah, I'm Matt Capone, man. I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, so let's get into it. So I heard that you started poetry at the age of 7 because of rhyming.
Right.
Why the lyric device rhyming?
So, I think like one of my biggest influence, other than like my brother like rapping and stuff like that, like it was Dr. Seuss for me.
Okay.
You feel me? Once I saw that rhyming was a thing, it was like I've always like been big on words. You feel me? So it was like, oh, you can rhyme words and put words together. So Dr. Seuss was like my inspiration when it came to rhyming. So it just went into rapping, and then rapping just went into like just writing poetry, and that's how everything came about for real.
Okay. But not that many people like fall in love with poetry at that young of an age.
Yeah.
Not our people.
Yeah. So, all right. So, my mother, right? Like my mother and my father. Like my father's Muslim, my mother, she's Baptist, Christian, or whatever the case is. So she used to have these daily breads, right? And at the bottom of daily breads, they used to have these little short poems.
Okay.
Right? So I used to read all of them and be like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, at a young age, it was like, oh, I don't know why this makes sense, but it makes sense.
Okay.
So on top of Dr. Seuss, on top of, you know what I'm saying, hearing my brother rap and the daily breads, is just like, oh yeah, I like this. It's something that I adopted to. So.
Oh no, that's what's up. No. Okay, so then I heard from another birdie that you at 10 years old performed your first performance.
Yep. So I was more so in like to rapping around from 7 to like 10 years old. Poetry came because it was like it's like the mother of rap. It's just without a beat.
It is.
You feel me? So I was in maybe like the 6th grade or 5th grade, going to the 6th, and my elementary that I went to, they was having like some open mic at Starbucks. So I was like, oh, I go.
Y'all elementary was lit if y'all had open mic at 10.
Man, it was like a one-time thing, and I still got pictures of it. It's crazy. And I went, I read a poem, and you know what I'm saying, it was like some grown ups in there. They was like, "Oh yeah, you really good. Like,
Okay.
you should keep going, keep doing it." So it was like, whatever. I stick to rapping.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? And I always write, but you know what I'm saying. Like I stayed with music. You feel
Okay.
me? So probably around like when I got older, around like maybe like 2021. That's when like I write short poems on
Mm-hmm.
Instagram. I would attach pictures to it,
Mm-hmm.
and like a lot of people like, "Oh yeah, he do poetry. Like that's cool." And then certain things started going on to where it's like, all right, let me step back from this. I had to take care of some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I took care of it, it was like, look, I know this is gonna be hard to do. This job might be hard to reach. And what I'm gonna do now to get money. So
True.
it was like, you know what, I'm gonna just dedicate my time to doing poetry. I went to every open mic in the DMV for a year straight. I don't know how I got the money in my pocket, but every day, like it was like, oh
You a
yeah,
hustler.
yeah.
You
So
gotta make it make it
Monday
happen.
through Friday, I was at every open mic, and then like the second year, it was like a year and a half. So like then like 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
I ran into who is my manager now.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Epic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he was like, yo, you want a venue? Because he saw me perform. I was like, yeah, and that's how Trap Poetry came about.
And if I'm not mistaken, your first trap poetry was Busboys and Poets?
Our first uh, Trap Poetry was at On the Rocks in Northeast DC.
So once you saw your vision come to life that first time, how did it feel? Like take us back to that scenario.
So it was like, it was an open mic they were just randomly having at On the Rocks.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out On the Rocks too, Rock, all them. And they was like, yo, I had some friends like, yeah, you should perform tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So I got up on stage, I performed. Of course, everybody was feeling me. You know what I'm
It's like that.
saying? I mean, look, I'm confident. You know what I'm saying? I know what I'm talking about when I
Mm-hmm.
speak on things. So, um, I know my perspective is coming from a different aspect than most open mic artists or
Mm-hmm.
spoken word artists. So once I got off stage, it was like, oh yeah, that's cool. And once my manager now approached me, he was like, yeah, you want this? I was like, this venue? He was like, yeah. He was like, I can make it happen. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Once we got through all the business and I had my first night there like 95 people. You
Wow.
feel me? And I was like, oh, I got something. So, from there, it's just staying consistent, keeping the ball rolling.
Of course, it's always consistency.
Yeah.
That highness, I know you that high had to be amazing that first show.
I mean, like, I'm real confident in everything I do. I've been getting attention just from a lot of people, just in general, since I was a child.
okay.
So, being in the limelight or just being the sole focus of attention is like I'm already used to it. But seeing something that I told myself was
Mm-hmm.
going to happen actually happen, that was bigger than actually like everybody coming out.
It's
You feel
nothing
what
like
I'm
a
saying?
dream to a concept in your hand. Like it's a powerful thing when you think something in your hand and
Facts,
you
facts.
see it. No. So how did you even come up with the name trap poetry?
I grew up in Washington D.C., Southeast.
Okay.
So it was like I really grew up in the trenches.
All
Like,
right.
you know what I'm saying? Like, my neighborhood was called 501 Apartments,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like back then in the '90s, it was like one of the most notorious neighborhoods in Southeast.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I grew up in that.
All
So
right.
when I started doing poetry,
Mm-hmm.
it was like, how can I bring people from where I'm from to poetry and expose them to that? Because a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
especially a lot of people that I'm around, they really don't care about poetry. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? They support me. You feel me? And a lot of people support me because they see how passionate and how serious I
Mm-hmm.
am. You feel me? So, the trap just came from, what I'm saying, my upbringing.
Okay.
You feel me? And it also comes from, what I'm saying, the audience I got. I don't have the typical poetry community crowd. You know what I'm saying? I got a blend. That's why I call it trap poetry, the culture. You feel
Yes.
me? You got different people from different walks of life that come to my show. You know what I'm saying? You got people that come from the trap. You got people
Mm-hmm.
that come from, you know, homes where they had their mothers and their fathers. You got people that went to college. You got people that didn't go to college. People with businesses. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
All different types of people. So, being able to expose people in the trenches to what poetry
Mm-hmm.
is, and being able to expose people that know about poetry to the
Mhm,
trenches and
mhm.
just blend it together. That's how trap poetry came about.
No, that's exactly reminds me of what Study Vegan. Are you familiar with Study
Yeah,
Vegan?
I heard it's like vegan.
Earn Your Leisure, she was talking about cultural capital and
Mhm.
basically how, to build your company, you have to bring culture and community.
Right.
And culture capital, that's the way to scale your company. So it seems like that's what you're doing.
Facts.
Nice.
Facts.
And if you ever been to a trap poetry show, they're fun if you're not getting harassed by him.
I mean, it's a vibe, and I make sure that trap poetry
Mm-hmm.
is a product of my own blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
I could hire anybody to host trap poetry. It's
Mm-hmm.
not gonna get the same vibes. You
Yes.
feel what I'm saying? So I make sure when I'm at trap poetry, I'm talking to everybody because I want everybody to feel like they got a piece of me or a part of me. Like, oh yeah, I know Matt Capone. You know what I'm saying? That gives them more leisure to just open up and be like, oh yeah, the fact that I know him, I'm gonna support him.
Okay.
You feel me? So it's business, but I love connecting with, what I'm saying, different types of people and, what I'm saying, building those relationships because you never know.
Right. You never know and stuff. And then, like I said, I've been to a couple and they're a wonderful vibe. You do meet a lot of people and everything. It's always a good time and everything. Like I said, you're not getting harassed. I get harassed for being late, but I've been on time 2 times. I just want to say that.
Got you. Yeah, you've been doing all right. All right. I ain't had to put you in the corner no more. You feel what I'm saying? So, now you've been, sitting around where everybody else been sitting and been able to talk to everybody. When you get there late, you know what I'm saying? You gotta sit in the late seats.
I wasn't even late. I was at 7:30. The show starts at 8.
And the show was filled up by 7 o'clock.
Okay. I digress.
Yeah.
Okay, so going back that you're from Southeast, okay. Let's talk about political right now. DC just drew their new mayor. What do you think the new state of DC is right now? Good, bad. You can keep it real. If it's a hot mess, it's a hot mess. If it needs change, it needs change.
I feel like it's two sides to the story, right? I feel like I don't even look at it as Chocolate City no more. You know what I'm saying?
It's milk chocolate or white chocolate.
I mean, look, whatever you want to call it, it's not the city I grew up in. But also being able to take accountability for why it's not, you know what I'm saying, like my community no more. You know what I'm saying? Like us as black people, we gotta start taking accountability for what we doing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I believe in like systematic racism and stuff like that. Like that could be a whole different conversation. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, us destroying our communities, of course, you know what I'm saying, like they're gonna come in, break stuff down and once we start caring about ourselves and caring about our communities, the stuff that's going on in my city right now wouldn't even be happening.
I feel like we need to fight back against gentrification.
Yeah, but you gotta have people that care. You feel me? So in a sense of, all right, last week I did a walk. I did a walk from Anacostia Station to Walker Mill Road. That's a 3-hour walk.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Just trying to bring attention to gun violence and just the violence in our community. 5 people showed up.
And that's sad.
5 people showed up.
And how many people reposted the flyer? How many people commented on the flyer?
I can't even tell you. You know what I'm saying? Even though it wasn't my walk, it's still like, if you cared about your community, you'll make this walk. Even if you didn't make this walk, you'll, you know what I'm saying, give to whatever fundraiser, you know what I'm saying, going on. Even if it's reposting the flyer, people don't care until it's them. You feel what I'm saying? Or people don't care until it's one of their family members. You know what I'm saying? So when we start talking about, you know what I'm saying, fighting back with gentrification, the first thing we gotta do is police our own communities.
That's true.
You feel me? If people don't care and they just think, oh yeah, we just gonna have a mayor that's just gonna be like, you know what, we just gonna keep DC black and you know what I'm saying, all this stuff, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. So once we start doing something about ourselves and what we got going on around our communities.
It's the Karl Marx theory. You know the Karl Marx theory, basically, if you want the head of the administration to change, the bottom has to change.
Facts.
In the administration, if they do anything, then the bottom is affected. So basically,
Facts.
If we work and stuff and everything, because my family's from DC. My father's from Trinidad, mother's from River Terrace, and my grandmother still owns her property, barely, by Chilling Park Road.
Okay.
So yeah, no, we do. No, I definitely agree with you. But that brings up my next question. So what does the poet plays in the community? Because back in the day, if you use Jill Scott Heron, Maya Angelou, Nina Simone, they were the ones that said what most people would never say. But we kind of lost that. You know, now we have a poets and stuff, and they're good. The content's bomb, but are we really going to, off the stage, get in the streets and really say what we say?
I mean, from the looks of it, no. I mean, people use their platforms the best way they know how
Of
to.
course.
Even speaking on certain things in your art and your poetry, like, but that goes but so far because it's going to ears that's already listening.
Mm-hmm.
You feel what I'm saying? You don't want the ears that's already listening. You want the ears that's not listening.
Mm-hmm.
And the best way to do that is to hop off the porch and go in these communities.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I had started being the host for Busboys and Poets a while back, and I was at the Anacostia location, and my crowd got so big they wanted to move me out of the Anacostia location. I was like, nah, I grew up here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I want people to see that, listen, you can come from this and be this at the same time. I mean, a lot of spoken word artists that I've met, they got like bachelors, and you know, they done been to college. I'm from the trenches. You feel what I'm saying? It's like I'm right here with you.
But
You
books
feel
don't mean
me?
everything.
It don't mean everything. But you know what I'm saying? Like giving them certain qualifications that go a long way in the poetry world.
It does. Do you feel comfortable talking about the political scene of poetry? Because I never knew that. Like, I just thought because you think about it, Tupac, you think about some of your favorite poets, they never had a bachelor's. They never had none of this top education. Now, they were invited to like Harvard and stuff because their work was so amazing, but it wasn't like they came out that.
So it's more so, I'm not gonna say it's as important, but just having those connections.
Okay.
So if you like went to a HBCU and you do spoken word, now you got this connection to this school to where you can go back and start your platform there or build your audience from there. Or you know what I'm saying, when you go to these places and they looking for spoken word artists, they might try to look up your credentials and it's like, oh, he got a undergrad in English or whatever the case is, or he's an English major or whatever the case is. Like, oh, okay. But me, it's like you can't look too much up on me, and the stuff that you are gonna look up on me, you're gonna be like, oh, you know, he happens to do poetry. He's not a poetry person. He's a person that happens to do poetry, and that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't really take it as no type. I'm not offended because at the end of the day, once I step on the mic, you're gonna see why I'm here.
But no, but that brings up the bigger conversation. Like, what is an artist? Like, okay, I feel your pain because as a filmmaker, I'm not into traditional filmmaking. I'm not into, I'll say, neoism and all the other. No, I like my films and I like the way I like to create. I like to tell stories from the Black community and everything. Some people look at Tyler Perry badly, but I look at him as amazing because he's employing the community. And sadly, that's a reality of our community. There's people down south. There's family members down south that I had to act like Medea and all of them and stuff. But I get slack because I want to tell community stories that is affects my community.
Right.
Instead of going to traditional over the head sop that sadly only I say the Black scholarly people would understand.
Right.
I would love for me personally to have a full room of Black people of all kinds watching my movie and they combine bond together. That's what I would love. So I understand your pain.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like I said, it's more of a humble brag for me. You know what I'm saying? Like to be in rooms with certain people, especially certain people that I wanted to be in rooms with years ago. And then, you know, it's like I had people that I admired or people that, you know what I'm saying, like motivated me and stuff like that. But when I got in the room with them, it's like, oh, you ain't no different than me.
Yeah,
You feel
sometimes
me?
the worst thing is to meet your idol.
Yeah, that's a fact.
It's
That's
sad.
a fact. That's a fact. So,
But it is.
you know, I just do my due diligence and worry about the impact that I leave on, you know what I'm saying, my community. That's why I trap poetry when people be like, oh yeah, this is my first time at an open mic. I'm glad to hear that because now it sets the tone for when you go to other different open mics. You know what I'm saying? I don't have the eclectic or, you know what I'm saying, a real eccentric vibe at my shows. You feel me? Like we're gonna have a good time, you're gonna get some poetry, but you know what I'm saying, you're gonna get an experience all together.
So will you say trap poetry is more of a lifestyle brand than just you come to a poetry show?
Yeah, it's that's exactly what it is.
Okay.
It's like I said, it's an experience that you take with you for the rest of your life. Feel me? Like
I agree.
you go to any other open mics, and no shade that no other open mics, but a lot of them get the same vibe. You feel me? It's, you know what I'm saying, all snaps and, you know what I'm saying, neo soul and, you know what I'm saying, real eclectic and, you know what I'm saying, like, it's a little bougie. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's a little bougie, but you come to trap poetry and it's people there that look like you, talk like you, people there that you can just sit beside and they drinking with you. Oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like all that type of stuff. It's like you literally out at the lounge or a club and you just meeting people, but at the same time you getting some words too.
You know, it reminds me of the 2022 version of Def Jam poetry.
Yeah, you know, I've been hearing that a lot.
For real? Okay, I thought I was the only one that was thinking like that.
I've been hearing that a lot. It's crazy because I'd be a little jealous of my audience because they get to sit down and see what's going on stage.
You
And
do be running around like a chicken with his head cut off.
And it's not even necessarily that. It's more so being able to catch the whole vibe in itself. I've never came past a host that hosts like me. You feel what I'm saying? I've never came past a host that move like me at my shows. So being able to actually sit down now, I done had a good time at a couple shows. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you know, I love poetry, so I love words. I love play on words. I love metaphors, similes, all that. So I'm gonna have a good time regardless if I'm at an open mic. But to be able to be like, oh yeah, I came to trap poetry and I sat down and I got that vibe, I'd be a little envious of y'all a little bit because, yeah, I'm bomb.
Okay, so since you're so bomb, how do you study your craft?
You say what?
Like, since you're so bomb, how do you study your craft? Like, how do you get better?
How do I study my craft?
Yes.
So I'm a student. I tell everybody I'm a student of the game. I'm always stay a student of the game.
All right.
A man that knows everything knows nothing. You feel what I'm saying? So
very true.
I pay attention to other artists. Whether I'm on Instagram all day, going through looking for other spoken word artists on YouTube, talking to people just about poetry. I got, you know, a couple friends that do poetry, so just talking to them and us just talking about poetry, just keeping it consistent, keeping the conversation alive. You feel what I'm saying? And it's a lot of poets that just motivate me to just want to be better. Like iron sharpen iron. You feel me? So that's how I just stay up on it. You know what I'm saying? That's how I get better and better. You know what I'm saying? By getting motivated by other people, but also motivating other people.
No. You know and I will say one thing about your poetry, you talk about so many subject matters. I love that you're going to go to political. I love that you're going to go maybe on the women's side. I love that you're going to go on the men's side. You don't take no sides.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So being versatile is like real big for me.
Okay.
You feel me? You hear a lot of open mic artists, which to me isn't a problem. You hear a lot of open mic artists and they talk about just the trauma of, you know, whether it's growing up in the hood or just growing up being black. And that's cool because that's our reality.
Okay.
So, you know what I'm saying? I don't have no problem with that. I got a couple pieces like that. But I also want to, you know what I'm saying, diversify my poetry and be able to talk about real life stuff outside of that, like relationships, what we actually go through and not just the stuff that they put on TV. You know what I'm saying? I want to talk about and bring the conversation, bring the like what we talking about on Instagram, memes, all those things. You know what I'm saying? I take note of all that and I put all that in my poetry. So, you know, that's how I stay fresh. That's how I stay young.
No. So with saying that, in your poetry, you talk about love. And why I love that you talk about love is because you're vulnerable. And it's very rare nowadays to see a Black man, especially with your background, talk about vulnerability. And with saying that, Bell Hooks talked about the love ethic. So we know what the love ethic is, right?
Nope.
All right. So basically, Bell Hooks in her book, Love, Return Back to Love, she's basically said that if us as Black people, the opposite sex, men and women, talk about love, we can grow to find an ethic of how we should really love each other.
Facts.
So the only way we can do that is we constantly bring it up in conversation, which is what you do, which I think is so dope from the fact of whether it's the negative side, the positive side, but you can't get to a love ethic without having a conversation.
Facts. I feel like, and not to get away from this, I feel like that's why the state of our community is the way that it's in. You know what I'm saying? You don't hear old love songs the way you used to.
Don't.
You feel what I'm saying? Even if, you know, it used to be rap songs about love. You know what I'm saying? It used to be rap songs about, oh, treat your woman like this, or I miss my girl. You don't hear none of that no more.
You don't.
So now, you know what I'm saying, it's no love in the city. It's no love in the community. You feel what I'm saying?
Marvin
Even when
Gaye.
it come down to R&B. R&B is sexualized more than talking about being in love more than anything.
It is.
So it's like you take love outside of music, you take love outside of poetry, you take love outside of anything, and this is what you get.
That's true. And are we just? There's a lot of dope, like, cause I'm in the neo soul, and I'm into like a lot of R&Bs that's like not mainstream. They're like down under. So with that saying, there's a lot of them that talk about love. It's just that they're not getting exposure. And but it's like, what do we do? Do we blame ourselves because there is a lot of artists that are talking about love? Is it that's what we as a community just want right now? Is that what our generation's like? Is it like
it's all about what's getting pushed by these record labels?
True.
You feel what I'm saying?
Indie record labels, mainstream.
Right. So, you know what I'm saying? They control what's on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They understand what's going on in the community. They understand that, you know what I'm saying, rap music affects the culture and influences the young man. So why would we want the community and the culture to talk about love if we trying to destroy this community? If we trying to destroy these people, why would we talk about love? No. So we're going to talk about violence and, you know what I'm saying, corruption and all that, and, you know, all this money. We're going to make all those things like things that you look up to. It's a distraction from what we really need. Everybody needs to be loved.
Very much true. So does that mean that we need to get back in the more CEO position? Because not everybody's meant to be a CEO. Do we need to get back more into our own businesses? Like, what do we do to get back?
Heal.
But how do we heal when a generation don't want to go to therapy? A generation only want to talk to their boys that are toxic or their girls that are toxic. How do we, no, for real, like, how do we get back? Like, I don't know, like how I was raised, the unit was the unit. Like you didn't have all this extra noise. It was a unit. And now it just seems like, oh my God, anybody can break up the unit now.
So I'm real big on when I go out and I talk to people, if everybody don't listen, as long as one person listens, that's all it makes. You know what I'm saying? That's all that makes sense to me. So you know what I'm saying? It's gonna take a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like people gotta understand like it's generational curses, and those generational curses, they still going. And still going. You feel what I'm saying? Like as far as like how we gonna heal, you gotta do it one person at a time. And people gotta be able to be willing to actually do that. But it's a lot of people that's ignorant to what healing actually is. You know what I'm saying? Starting off with healing is taking accountability first.
Very much
and a lot of people don't take accountability for anything. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to play the victim. It's easy to point the finger. You feel what I'm saying? So whether we talking about our community, whether we talking about politics, whether we talking about our relationship, until people start actually sitting down, looking at themselves in the mirror, and taking accountability, it's always going to be the same. But I know with every generation is a new rebellion as well. You feel what I'm saying? So, you know, making sure that we instill, you know what I'm saying, certain things into our kids so as they know, okay, this is what I'm going to have to deal with when I get older. Because there's a lot of conversations I didn't have with my mother when I was growing up. You feel me? And I had to learn when I got older and I started living life. And life hits you fast.
It does. If you don't be ready,
right. So if you're not having these conversations with your kids about what this is or what this looks like, you know what I'm saying? Like they're gonna fall right into the same trap that everybody else falling into. So it's more so about, you know what I'm saying, educating, you know what I'm saying, the youth, educating our households, educating the community. But if people don't want to listen, then you just go to the next person that want to listen.
No, that's very true. So is this the same message that you be talking about with the kids in schools? Because I know you're heavy into the schools, speaking to them.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm real relatable when it comes to like high school kids. You know what I'm saying? Like when I walk through the door, I got tattoos. You know what I'm saying? I probably got the latest brand on the clothes. So they like, oh, you know what I'm saying?
All bad. You
right? You know what I'm saying? I'm not the typical speaker that they gonna get. Typical speaker gonna come in there and be like, yeah, you know, this how you do this and this how you do this. This how I'm gonna just go in there and have a general conversation with them because nobody's talking to them. The parents not talking to them, not talking to them about nothing.
And most of the time they don't even feel seen. That's why they're like shutting down.
Right. So it's like, I go in there and I talk to them just about life. You feel what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Like, oh yeah, what's up? What you doing after school today? What you got going on? You know what I'm saying? Talking about stuff that really matters to them that nobody else listens to. So once I come in and I'm like, oh yeah, I do poetry. They be like, oh, yeah, you do poetry. You cool. You don't even look like no poet. I look like you. I look like the regular dude around your neighborhood. You feel what I'm saying? You see me walking down the street, and because I'm that relatable,
Mm-hmm.
they more prone to listening. They ain't trying to listen to nobody
No.
that's already made it and they not trying to listen. They trying to listen to somebody that look like them, talk like them, from where they from. So
Yeah, no, definitely agree with you. No. So I agree with everything you're saying. I would add on to that is that we cannot be, I say, we can't let the oppressors think they're going to save us. They're not going to oppress us. Like,
right,
we cannot, take it how you want to take it, but they're not going to. So we have to give ourselves knowledge and everything like that.
facts. I've always been real big on like just reading and learning words. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It was like when I was in high school,
Mm-hmm.
I was dumb, but I was smart.
Okay, explain.
So I used to get in a lot of trouble. I went to 5 high schools in 5 years. You feel what I'm saying?
Ooh,
So if I
yeah.
wasn't fighting, I was in the hallways,
Okay.
I was skipping, whatever the case is. But I always took time to remember the words of the day,
Okay.
study the words of the day. Used to carry a dictionary on me. You know
Really?
what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't want to have a conversation with somebody that wasn't my peer. I
Mm-hmm.
sound ignorant.
Okay.
So it's like, oh yeah, it's a lot of people that they just got a certain slang to them that they can't get away from.
Yeah, but you shouldn't judge a book by a cover.
That's a fact. But also, when you walk in a certain room, you need to know how to carry yourself.
That's
You
true.
feel me? And I knew like I was outside. I knew I was doing stuff I wasn't supposed to be
Mm-hmm.
doing, but I also wanted to be able to switch it up. You
Okay.
feel what I'm saying? When it was time to switch it up. You know what
All
I'm saying? A
right.
lot of people where I'm come from, all they see is Southeast. All they see is whatever hood that they in. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? They don't see it as a conference. You feel what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it's like I ain't want to be stupid,
Understand.
but I
Understand.
didn't want to go to class either. You know what I'm saying? So class didn't challenge me. School didn't challenge me. You
Okay.
feel me? So me learning was my way of learning. It was easy to go in history and just read and then answer multiple choice words. It was
Mm-hmm.
easy to go in math. I know how to count money. You feel what I'm
That's
saying?
all them really counting you need,
That's
honestly.
that's that's how I looked at it until I got older and I started looking at certain jobs required certain levels
Of
of
course.
math because you know calculus and all this stuff, all that stuff. English, you know what I'm saying? Even though it's the dumbest form of any type of language, you still got to know how to talk. You feel what I'm saying? Even if,
Yes.
I'm saying, it's not your native tongue, you still got to learn how to talk. You still got to learn how to approach people when you go on for interviews and stuff like that. So I ain't want to be looked at as no idiot.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's what I used to do.
And then it brought
And
you
it
here.
and
It
it
brought
brought
me
me
here.
here full circle.
Hey,
Full
actually, my
circle,
favorite
full
bookstore
circle.
is by your way.
Okay.
Mahogany Bookstore, the Anacostia location.
Okay. Okay. Even though I stay uptown, I mean, I got you. I got you.
Okay.
I got
Okay.
you.
All right. Okay. So we have come to the wonderful time of the Wild Award. You had time to marinate on this.
You know, we was talking and vibing so much, I wasn't even thinking about it.
Are you wasn't?
Nah, I wasn't even thinking about it. Even though you told me in the
Yeah,
beginning,
I told you.
it's like we were just talking.
We going back and forth. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But you go ahead.
I was like that.
No, I'm saying go ahead.
Oh, I gotta introduce it.
Yeah.
I gotta introduce
So
it.
you gotta remind me.
Oh,
Again.
I gotta remind you. Okay,
Yeah,
so that's what we're
remind
gonna do. Okay. All right. So for our first time people that's first time on the show, if this is the first time you're ever listening to the show, the Wild Award is basically someone who paid the way. You can actually know them. You don't have to know them. They can be, I don't care if it's Arthur from PBS. It's somebody that helped pave the way for you. You felt like that spirit, that person, whatever that is, got you here. Or it could be negative, as we had previous discussion. It might be negative, but it's the person that propelled you to get to where we're here right now.
Right. So it has to be one person.
No, it could be multiple people. We had people who did 10 people.
Oh, I ain't got that much time. It's like nah. I ain't got that many people. I give it to my mother and my father.
Okay.
And it's like a yin and yang thing because my father didn't raise me. My father tried to raise me behind a prison wall.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But definitely my mother, she definitely prepared me to be the type of man that I am, the type of person I am.
Okay.
My mother was a lupus survivor, cancer survivor, and like it caused me to grow up a little fast. You know what I'm saying? Like 7, 8 years old, I'm cooking, I'm cleaning.
Right.
You know, my mother working late to just make sure that we got food on the table. So I'm cooking for my older brother. You know what I'm saying? Depression, mental health, bipolar, all that stuff running my family. So, you know what I'm saying? Being as young as I was and having to take certain things on, it made me the man that I am because now I'm independent, I'm self-sufficient.
Okay.
You feel me? So, definitely my mother in that aspect. My father because it made me realize the man that I didn't want to be.
Okay.
You feel me? So as far as how he was to all his kids, it's like now I keep my kids up under me. You know what I'm saying? I got my kids 24/7. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, yeah, you with me. You'll see your mother when you see your mother. You feel what I'm saying? Like, look, you want to get them this weekend? They the weekend parents. You feel what I'm saying? So
and salute, because not that many fathers are like that.
yeah, so it's like my father just reminded me of man that I didn't want to be. It took a long time for me to forgive him because my father got his own problems and his mental health issues. So I had to grow up and go through stuff to see, you know what I'm saying, like probably what he went through. So once I looked at it from his eyes or a different aspect, I was able to like forgive him. But it's still, you know, a rocky relationship. So, you know what I'm saying? I definitely give him an award to be like, man, look, you made me the father that I am because you wasn't the father.
But still, kudos for you even trying to rebuild that relationship. Not that many people would.
Yeah, already.
Okay. All right. So before we get out of here, you want to drop any IGs where they can find you at, all that? You want to announce anything you got coming up? Like,
all right, so if everybody want to follow me, if y'all don't already know, you can follow me on Instagram at Matt MATT 3_CAPONE.
okay.
I mean, for real, you could Google trap poetry. You could Google Matt Capone. All that stuff will pop up. I got a trap poetry coming up July 24th.
Okay.
Right now, you know, trap poetry. We in business with sponsorship by With a Weekend. Shout out With a Weekend.
Hold on. Bring that back. You didn't mention nothing about that. Hold up.
You ain't asked me.
Oh, it's like that.
No, it wasn't one of them things that just came up mid topic.
Oh, it's like that. Okay. Rewind. Okay, talk about the brand.
Yeah. So I mean, trap poetry, the brand in itself, is me. What I stand for as far as, you know what I'm saying, other things that, you know what I'm saying, we trying to maneuver and get into. I'm trying to bring trap poetry to like different states.
That would be really dope.
Yeah, so like you had spoke on, you know what I'm saying, Deaf Poetry Jam, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to have trap poetry like the Mecca.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? When you think about poetry, you hear trap poetry. Just like you got a lot of stuff. When you think about karaoke, you hear about trap karaoke. You know what I'm saying? You hear about sipping paint, you think about trap sipping paint. You feel what I'm saying? When you think about poetry. Especially in my city, I want to be the face of it. So dealing with like other DC brands or just dealing with like just popular people in DC. So when people see me with those people, when people see those people with me, it's like, oh, he do poetry. For the people that don't know about poetry, it's like, yeah, poetry is a thing now. So that's what I'm trying to do with trap poetry as far as like sponsorship about With a Weekend handle like, you know, our footage, videography, and they do so much more. They do so much more, you know what I'm saying, capturing the weekend or, you know what I'm saying, just trap poetry in itself, embodying what it is, with everything they got going on. So shout out With a Weekend. Shout out everybody over there.
All right, cool. So that means you're gonna come back on the show again because you seem like it's gonna be more developing, more evolving.
I mean, you know, everything about timing. You feel what I'm saying? Everything about timing. You know what I'm saying? Everything about growth. So, you know what I'm saying? I definitely, you know what I'm saying, pop back out, come holler at y'all, get y'all an update, you know what I'm saying? One of these days, months, or years, you know what I'm saying? Depending on where I'm at.
All right, before we close out, remember this. Inside all of us is hope. Inside all of us is fear. Inside all of us is adventure. Inside all of us is a wilding. My name is Melissa. You're listening to Wild. Peace. Bye.